Right, so been back from Argentina for 1 month, and before I forget absolutely everything that we did, saw, learned, etc., I thought I'd note it all down and give some tips in case anyone's planning some kind of similar trip. Here we go. Number one, it is enormous. It's like 4,000 kilometers north to south. You can't see the whole country. But the great thing about Argentina is it is so diverse. From the north, you've got the rainforests, it's lush green, it's humid, and it goes through deserts, and then you get to Patagonia, it gets a bit chillier, a bit windier, but there's mountains, there's glaciers, and then you get right down south and you're basically in the Antarctic. I don't think there's any other country in the world where you've got that absolute diversity of pretty much every kind of ecosystem climate on the planet in one space. So it's got a bit of everything, and it's all accessible, so that's a great reason to go. Thus, due to how big the place is, it's pretty important to plan out your trip and work out how you're going to get around, because there's so much to see and there's not necessarily an easy way of getting between each place. There's more and more flights, I think, each year between cities and towns in the country, which makes it easier to get around. But what we originally had in mind was to start right down the south and work our way up to the north of the country, then head out of Buenos Aires at the end. But it turns out there wasn't actually flights from where we wanted to go to the next place we wanted to go to on the days that we needed to. So we ended up doing a little kind of S-shaped thing, starting off pretty much in the middle, going north, then right down the south, and then back up to almost where we started again in the middle. So check out when the flights are going. Aerolíneas Argentinas is really, really good. All our flights are on time. It's pretty nice standard. It's kind of like using EasyJet, but you actually get some free food and drink on board as well. So no issues there, but just make sure you plan around where you can actually practically get from, as opposed to just assuming you can get from place to place. 3, buses. They've got a great reputation in Argentina. We didn't actually use them much. Because there wasn't actually a practical way of doing it. The flights were about probably 30-40% more expensive, but they only take 2 or 3 hours, as opposed to the buses, which often take an entire day out of your itinerary. And if you're on a pretty tight schedule like we were, you don't want to be losing an entire day at a time to just sitting on a bus. But I'd say they are meant to be great. They've got reclining seats and food and drink and that kind of stuff. So if you can find one between the place you are and the place you want to go to, and it's maybe an overnight, so you leave in the afternoon and you get to the place in the morning, it's probably worth doing, because I think it's quite a cost efficient, and also you don't have to pay for night's accommodation whilst you're on it. But apart from that, probably not worth it, particularly if you're up against it time wise. The flights are great, they're not that expensive, so I'd probably go down that route. 4. It ain't the Maldives. It's not the kind of place you go for a beach holiday or for an R&R kind of trip. There's lots to see, there's lots to do, and you can only really do that by sticking your walking boots on and heading up the mountains or across the glaciers and that kind of thing. So be prepared to be knackered for quite a lot of time. We had a lot of naps in the afternoon because we had some pretty tiring days. But if you're prepared to get muddy and to get out and about, you will be rewarded with some unbelievable sights. Equally, even some of the most touristy bits like Perito Moreno, like Iguazu, they're big tourist attractions, but there's still a lot of walking to do there. I think in Iguazu you could easily walk 20-25 kilometers in a day if you wanted to see all of the falls in one day. So be prepared to get knackered, bring some water wherever you go, and get used to eating packed lunches, because it's usually better than the food in the tourist attraction cafes. But if you put the effort in, you do get rewarded. 5. Made this mistake a couple of times. If you order beer in a lot of places, you get a bottle of beer, but not just a normal size, like 330ml bottle of beer, a litre of beer. So yeah, make sure if you're driving or something, or you're looking for a quick beer, that you order a small one, because the standard size seems to be 1 litre, which isn't that practical for just stopping at a pub for 5 minutes and moving on. 6. Paying by card in Argentina is a right pain in the arse, particularly if you're used to just paying for stuff with your phone or by contactless, like you can in the UK, pretty much everywhere. In and out, no trouble. In Argentina, you've got to give them your passport number, you've got to sign the form, you've got to wait for their card machine, which usually doesn't work, so try it again, and then you try it again, and then you pay with cash anyway. Or they don't take MasterCard, which a lot of places don't. So head out to Argentina with a load of $100 US dollars in notes, and get them changed as soon as you can. You can do it in the airport, you can do it in banks, you can do it on the high street in a lot of cities, and it just gives you pesos, and pesos makes your life so much easier because you can pay for absolutely anything wherever you go with them. Whereas US dollars, the only places that really take them are like large hotels, bigger restaurants, and that's about it. So anytime you're at a cafe, getting a taxi, in a bar, you need pesos. Everywhere takes pesos. Get them, don't worry about anything else, much easier. 7. WhatsApp. Weirdly, WhatsApp is pretty much how business gets done in Argentina. If you don't have it on your phone or don't use it, get it. If you don't have any data on your plan for use abroad, get it, because you're going to probably need it. Anytime we got a taxi from an airport, the driver was like, here's my number, WhatsApp me if you need a lift. And you've then got basically a private Uber service. You send him a message and 2 minutes later he turns up wherever you are. We had that in a few places and it really helped, really made our lives easier. Similarly, hotels, tour operators, things like that. They're always wanting to WhatsApp you the details of your booking, your reservation, when you need to check in, that kind of stuff. So get WhatsApp, get some sort of plan which allows you to check it out and about, and it will make your trip easier. 8 is this thing, not really Argentina specific, but I got it just before we went out and it's absolutely brilliant. Normally I travel with one of those white multi-plugs which has the long cable that allows you to plug 4 plugs in wherever you go. This thing, it will work in any country in the world. It's got like adapters for all of the plugs. You can plug 4 USB devices into the bottom of it. You can plug a USB-C cable into it for any sort of new phones. You can plug any plug in the world to the front and it fits in the palm of your hand. So it's like 20 quid from Amazon. Really recommend getting one of them if you don't have one already. 9. Drones. They, like most of the world these days, aren't huge fans of them. I think until more regulation comes in and drones get a bit quieter, they're probably going to continue to be banned from a lot of places. So don't turn up and be expecting to fly your drone or wherever you fancy. There are obviously plenty of places, it's a big country, which aren't national parks and aren't with loads of people, but any of the popular places, just don't get it out because you'll get it taken away and it's not worthwhile, which for now is a bit annoying, but maybe in the future we'll be allowed to fly drones in some of these more populated places with the right regulation in place. So let's see how it goes. 10. Steak. It's probably the thing that Argentina is most famous for, or certainly most known for. If people say they're going to Argentina, people say, oh my god, you're going to have so many steaks and so much red wine. That is 100% true. The Malbec is delicious too. But yeah, the steaks, I didn't actually have that high an expectation for the steaks. I knew there'd be lots of them, I knew they'd be pretty big, but I wasn't expecting them to be quite as high quality as they are. No matter where we went, the steak was really good. The kind of thing you pay like 60-70 quid for in the UK, in London, for equivalent flavour. Or to be honest with you, the stuff I've had in London isn't actually as good as the stuff I've had in Argentina. So be prepared for it to be unbelievably good. It doesn't really matter what cut you get, it's all absolutely delicious. And I think it's just a simple formula. It's all grass-fed beef which gets to roam around on the huge pampas in the middle of Argentina, which is a great place for a cow to spend its life, and then cooked indirectly over a parrilla or on the charcoal grill. Just makes a bloody great steak. So enjoy that. And other tip, Don Julio in Buenos Aires is supposedly one of the best restaurants in the world, the best steakhouse in the world. It's got this amazing reputation. We went there. We paid about 5 times the price there that we did for any other steak in the country, and to be honest with you, it wasn't any better. So save your money and spend it in one of the many parrillas up and around the country in Buenos Aires, across the whole nation, and enjoy the same quality of steak for a quarter of the price. 11. Get yourself a Sube card, particularly if you're going to spend more than a day or 2 in Buenos Aires. It allows you to get around and about in the city really easily across the buses. They've got a metro system. It's really cheap. It's like a couple of pesos, or maybe I think 10 pesos, 15 pesos per journey. And if the place you're trying to get to and from is on the underground line, it's probably the quickest way of getting there. It's probably more direct than getting a taxi, and it'll save you a bit of money as well. I think you can buy them from any sort of corner shops. They've got a Sube logo in the window, and go get one of them, load it up, and it will save you a bit of time and effort across the way. And you can also use them in some other cities, certainly Bariloche. You can use Sube card in all the buses. I think Mendoza has the same, and maybe some other places that we didn't go to. So get on them, and you can probably give it to another traveller at the airport or something when you're leaving as well to help them out. 12. I'd say bring a decent camera with you. I couldn't believe the number of people at some of the world's most spectacular sites like Iguazu Falls taking photos on their phone using the digital zoom and squeezing in the zoom and pixelating these images, like some of the most spectacular things they'll ever see, and all they're going to have is these horrible, ugly images. So if you're remotely into photography or remotely into just preserving the memories of your trip, get yourself a nice camera. I got one of these, which is a Panasonic G80. It wasn't that expensive. It's got a telephoto lens. It goes, it's waterproof. You can take it anywhere. It's not too heavy. And yeah, I think you'll definitely be glad that you've got it when you're out there. Don't have enough fingers. 13. Final tip, budget. Patagonia's got a bit of a reputation for being a pretty expensive place, and it's kind of true, but I think most of the costs actually come in the getting there. Obviously flying from Europe is expensive, and getting around in Patagonia, internal flights, they kind of add up depending on how many places you go to. But day to day, food and drink isn't actually that much. Beers are cheap, you're probably looking at £1.50, £2 a beer. You can eat empanadas all day and all night for about 20p an empanada, and they're absolutely delicious and they'll fill you up. So if you need to, you could live quite happily on like $20 a day, I'd say. Where it starts adding up is around tourist attractions, things like going to see penguins, that'll set you back over $100. If you're going to Iguazu and you want to get a boat trip, that'll be over $100 for the day, and all those kind of things. So you're probably going to have to balance it out. Pretty much everything you do is going to be the person on your left shoulder saying, oh, it's a once in a lifetime experience, we've got to do it. And the other hand, you're like, eternal bankruptcy isn't that much fun. So you're probably going to have to make some decisions about what you do and what you don't do. But yeah, don't be scared of the cost. You can survive on a decent budget daily. I think they used to have like basically 2 different economies and 2 different currencies for travellers and for locals. That doesn't exist any longer. You pay the same price that locals do no matter where you are. And yeah, it's not like off-puttingly expensive. I heard that Chile was actually more expensive, so be mindful of that. I think Brazil's more expensive as well day to day, so yeah, don't be put off by the cost. Next one, it's basically like Shoreditch out there. If you like flat whites and craft beer, you're gonna bloody love it. All the little towns are filled with little microbreweries which make unbelievably good little beers. They'll do APAs, IPAs, stouts, ESBs, all that kind of stuff. And they really know what they're doing. Similarly, cafes, I wasn't really expecting this, but there's more flat whites and bearded baristas out there than you get in South London. It's really good stuff. So yeah, don't worry about bringing your own coffee over with your AeroPress. You can get everything you might actually need in Argentina. It's good stuff. Enjoy. Final thing, how long do you need? So we had 3 weeks out there, which basically broke down into about 3 days in 7 different places with mostly flying in between, which worked out actually perfectly for us. We got incredibly lucky with the weather. We read quite a bit, particularly in Patagonia, that you can lose like weeks at a time to wind and rain and not see things, but fortunately every place we went had at least like one banging day of ideal weather, which allowed us to really see the best of it, which made a massive difference. I think the key thing is to just have a look at the country, see where you can fly to and from, and work out what's a practical way of doing it. We would have loved to have gone to Mendoza, but there wasn't a flight from Mendoza to Iguazu on the day we wanted to go there, so we went to Cafayate instead, which is also incredible. So you're going to have to make a few sacrifices along the way of things that you want to see but you actually can't see just due to logistics and time. But yeah, I'd say if you've got 2 weeks, you can see a pretty good chunk of Patagonia. 10 days, you could see 2 or 3 pretty awesome places. 3 weeks is enough to see a little bit of the whole country, but equally you could probably spend a whole year there and not see a load of stuff. So yeah, 2-3 weeks is perfect amount of time. We went around Christmas, which was peak tourist time, which was still pretty busy, but it wasn't actually too bad. We never really had too many crowds to deal with, so that should never be a concern. But yeah, the more time the better. And yeah, be aware that it's gonna add up. Obviously, the longer you're away, it's quite expensive, but it's wicked. Overall, unbelievable place. Can't recommend it highly enough. The people are great. It's safe. We certainly never felt in any kind of danger. The whole place, like, never saw anything to be alarmed about, which isn't something you can say for all South American countries in particular, or particularly basically anywhere in the world. But yeah, if you want to see more unbelievable scenery than you'll see in one country in the space of a short period of time, do it. It's wicked. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. But otherwise, watch some of the other videos.